you, ma'am.
Ms. Chairman.
Thank you, my
Is
lady.
it fine? Exhibit K.
Exhibit K. Correct, ma'am.
We had J,
We had J. Yes.
so now it's
Can be
Exhibit K.
Exhibit K. Thank you, my lady.
Proceed.
Thank you, sir. You may proceed to read your statement into the record.
Okay. I, the undersigned Albert Luthuli, do hereby make oath and state that I'm an adult male with identity number 670508527186, residing at 6 Charmaine Avenue, President Ridge, Randburg 2194, aged 57. I'm an engineer and project manager by profession. I am of sound mind and capable of deposing of this affidavit. Unless the context indicates otherwise, the facts contained in this affidavit are within my personal knowledge and are, to the best of my belief, both true and correct.
Just stop there. I just need to caution you that you, although it is your statement, you must please read every word verbatim. Don't add, don't subtract. There will be a period when the prosecutor, if she needs you to make certain corrections, then she will ask you questions and direct you to parts where you have to make corrections. The second aspect is that the lady next to you there is Miss Kopega. She is a court interpreter, a language specialist for purposes of this court. She will be interpreting. So you can take the cue from her or from the prosecutor as to when to stop to enable her to interpret. I don't know how you intend doing it. I see that Exhibit K has subheadings. So one way that we've been doing this is that after each subheading, for instance, your next subheading now is purpose of this affidavit. Before you get to the next subheading, you let Ms. Kupega interpret in isiZulu, from English to isiZulu.
Okay. Interpret what I would have just read?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes, Ms. Kupega.
As a court pleases, my lady, thank you. Ufakazi ke obiziwe landelayo uyichazile phambi kwenkantolo ukuthi uAlbert Luthuli uyamazi ke lo umufi ke sikhuluma ngaye ke kulolu daba. Nayi ke inkulumo yakhe efungelwe ebhale phansi lapho echaza khona eyibophezela phansi kwesifungo ukuthi uwesilisa osekhulile wanikezela ngenombolo yakhe kamazisi yang ethi 6705085271 86 wachaza indawo ahlala kuyona onombolo 6 Charmaine Avenue kwi President Ridge Randburg 2194 iminyaka ke engamashumi amahlanu nesikhombisa. Wachaza ngokumsebenzi wakhe kuba ungunjiniyela futhi uyena ongamele noma ke ongamele ke lo umsebenzi noma iproject manager ngokomsebenzi wakhe. Wachaza ukuthi ke unikezelela ngalencazelo useyinqondweni ke zakhe akho lutho lomphazamisile nanokuqinisekisa ukuthi konke okuqukethwe ke lapha ke kusuka ke kuyena futhi kuyiqiniso kunjalo.
Thank you, sir. Please proceed.
Purpose of this affidavit. The purpose of this affidavit is to set out important facts and events that I believe were intentionally and deliberately withheld from the first inquest into the death of Chief Albert John Luthuli, hereinafter referred to as Luthuli. It is my belief that the conduct of the erstwhile South African police, hereinafter referred to as the SAP, and the apartheid government of the day was aimed at concealing a serious crime and human rights violation committed against Luthuli during the period leading up to and including the 21st of July 1967, the day on which Luthuli was murdered. I wish for these facts to be presented at the reopening of the inquest for the purpose of establishing the truth as to what happened to the late Luthuli. And for those responsible for this gruesome murder and assassination to be held responsible, together with any reparations that may be due in the interest of justice.
Inhloso yokunikezelela ke ngale nkulumo ke yami ebhalwe phansi ukuthi ke ngiveza amaphuzu ke amqokwa nengikholelwa ke ukuthi ke la kwaba ke ngenhloso ke ukuthi ke kugodlwe izinto ke ezazibalekile ke lapha kulolu daba lokuqala olabanjwa lapho kwakuphenywa noma kubheka khona udaba lokukhothama kwalenkosi ukuthi ngabe kwakukhona owayenesandla noma kwakuyingozi na umnomzane obizwa ngoLuthuli inkosi uLuthuli ukwenza ke lokho kwenziwa ke amaphoyisa ngaphambilini ayebizwa ke ngama SAP kanjalo ke nohulumeni wangalesi yasikhathi ngoba phela ke inhloso vele yabo kwakuku ukuthukusa noma ke ukufihla ke lamacala ke ayicayeke kangaka ke enziwa ke lapha nanokuhlukumeza kwamalungelo ke akhe umnomzana uLuthuli lokwenzeka ngaphambilini vele ukuthi kube yilanga lesigameko ngisho nangalelanga lesigameko kumhla ka21 kuJuly ngonyaka 1967 okusuku ke inkosi ke eyabulawa ngalo nanokuthi ke futhi amanye amaphuzu ke la bengifisa ukuwaveza phambi kwenkantolo ukuthi ke mangabe njengoba sekuqalwe phansi ke kwendlalo noma ke kuvulwa loluyadaba abe khona ukuze kukwazi ukuthi ke kuphenye noma ke kubhekakale okuyiqiniso ukuthi kwenzakalani kahle kahle ke ngenkosi ke le eyakhothama uLuthuli ngenhloso ke kuloko kwenzakala ke lapha ke sigamekeni sokubulawa kwakhe ngesihluku kususwa ke kwakhe ukuze phela kwazakala ukuthi labo bantu abayothola ukuthi ibona babake nesandla ekubulaweni kwakhe ngalesihluku bakwazi phela manje ukuthi ke abantu ke babuyise ke indlela zabo nanokwazi ukuthi ke ba kwenziwe nanobulungiswa ke la kulelo phuzu lelo. You can proceed.
Okay. My birth and relation to Luthuli. I was born in Stenga, Guatuguza on the KwaZulu North Coast in 1967. On the KwaZulu-Natal North Coast in 1967. My father is Edgar Cyril Sbusiso Luthuli, the youngest son of Chief Luthuli. I am therefore the grandson of Luthuli. I also happen to be the eldest Luthuli grandson of my generation. My mother is Velemina May Luthuli, commonly known as Veli, and my grandmother is Nogukanya Luthuli, Mapengu, Luthuli's beloved wife. I was 2.5 months old when my grandfather died, so I hardly knew him in person. However, it has always felt as if I know him very well because the family always spoke about him, about his values, and that we have to emulate the values by which he lived. Indeed, his philosophies pertaining to things like hard work, truthfulness, integrity, being virtuous, etc., were inculcated in us growing up in the Luthuli home.
Mangichaza ngokuzalwa kwami nokuhlobana ke noLuthuli ngazalelwa endaweni yaseStenga lapha kwaDukuza indawo ke lapha ke nenyakatho yaKwaZulu-Natal ngazalwa ngonyaka ka1967 ubaba wami ke la uEdgar Cyril Sbusiso Luthuli oyindodana ke encane yenkosi uLuthuli ngale ndlela ke mina ngumzukulu kaLuthuli okwenzakala ukuthi bazukulwini bakhe ngibe omdala la uma wami ke uVelemina May Luthuli owaziwa ngoVeli kanti ke ugogo wami unokukhanya Luthuli uMabhengu othandweke kaLuthuli uma wenkosi uLuthuli nganginezinyanga nje ezimbili nesigamu ngalesikhathi ke umkhulu wami ekhothama angimazi ke kahle kodwa bengisolo ngizizwa njengomuntu ke engimaziyo ngendlela ukuthi ke na emndenini noma lapha ekhaya bekuhlezi kukhulunywa ke ngaye uqotho bakhe zonke izinto zakhe ke ezibeziya amagugu ke kuyena indoda le ebeyisebenza ngokuzinikela futhi indoda yamaqiniso manje ke sonke siye sathuliswa noma sakhuliswa ngalo ndlela ke lapha ke lakhaya laka Luthuli.
Dissatisfaction with the lack of truth surrounding Luthuli's death all through my childhood. For as long as I can remember, the family would, from time to time, talk about the pain of not knowing exactly what happened on that fateful day of 21 July 1967. What the family knew was that the story that was told by the apartheid government regarding the circumstances and reasons for my grandfather's death was not true. The basis of my family's knowledge is explained below. The community of Groudville and Watuguza in general also never stopped talking about the lies that were told about my grandfather's death.
Ngagculiseki ke lapha ke kweqiniso ke lapha mayelana nokukhothama ke kwenkosi uLuthuli into ke besoloku ikhona kukhule nje ngisho kwami ngiseyingane ngikhula nginako lokho ngagculiseki ngokuthi kwashoda noma ke kwagodlwa ke iqiniso mayelana nokukhothama kwakhe nje uma ngikhumbula nje ngisho emndenini ngasonke isikhathi bekuhlezi kukhulunywa ngalenhlungu yokuthi babengazi kahle ke okuyiqiniso ukuthi kwenzakalani ngalelanga lokukhothama ke kwenkosi ngomhla 21 kuJuly ngonyaka 1967 kodwa ke la umndeni owawukwazi lo wasukutshelwe uhulumeni ke ubandlelo ngalesa sikhathi nezathu ke ekuthiwa ke umkhulu ke washona ngaphansi kwazo ezazi ngalona ke iqiniso kodwa ke naku ke engakuchaza ulwazi lomndeni ke wami noma obechaza umndeni wami ngisho nanomndeni walapha eGroudville lapha kwaDukuza nawo awukazi ukuyeke ukukhuluma ngamanga ke achazwa noma ke ashiwo ngokukhothama kwamkhulu.
False claims that Luthuli was blind and deaf. The apartheid government claimed that Luthuli was hit by the train because he was half blind and deaf. Therefore, he could neither see the train nor hear it. These assertions are utterly false. There are at least three reasons why these government statements are false, and I state these reasons here below. On the day of the purported accident, Luthuli left home in the morning and walked to the bus stop. He boarded the bus and got off at the bus stop closest to the shop. He still needed to walk close to 2 kilometers from that bus stop to his shop. At the shop, he held a meeting with the shop manager, Mr. Mabaso, ensured that everything was in order before departing to walk to the cane fields. He was murdered en route to the cane fields. No blind and deaf person can do all of these things comfortably, unassisted, all the while interacting with people. This is the first proof that of the fact that the apartheid government's assertions are obviously false. Secondly, Luthuli was a preacher in our local church. He read the Bible in church without any problems and interacted with the congregation. A blind and deaf person cannot do these things. This is also one of the reasons the Groudville community knew that the government of the day was lying about the circumstances surrounding Luthuli's death. Thirdly, my mother and other family members used to say that when they were outside washing clothes or doing whatever chores needed to be carried out, Luthuli would be in the house. He is the one who would hear me as a baby then, crying, and would inform my mother of the fact that I was awake and needed attention. Luthuli was therefore not deaf. Lastly, a year before he died, Luthuli met with US Senator Robert Kennedy in his home in Groundville. The meeting was widely publicized, both in South Africa and abroad. Pictures of the two men talking and walking around the yard were widely circulated. Luthuli looked perfectly healthy. He showed no signs of blindness or deafness. Senator Kennedy himself described Luthuli as a remarkable man of sound mind. At no point did Senator Kennedy raise a concern about Luthuli's death, vision, or deafness.
Mayelana ke nalamampungu ke ayekhulunywa ke noma ivezwa okwakuthiwa ke inkosi uLuthuli yayingaboni futhi yayingezwa. Uhulumeni ke wobandlululo wavezwa udaba lokuthi uLuthuli uze ashaya inkosi uLuthuli ishayiswe ke istimela nje ngenxa ukuthi wayengaboni kahle futhi wayengezwa. Lokhu ke futhi ke manje ngalondlela kusho ukuthi akakwazanga ukubona noma ke ezwe ke istimela. Okwakuyinto amampunge noma kwakwamanga nje ahlaza. Engingachaza ke la maphuzu ke amathathe ngathi kuyisona sizathu la zokuthi ke uhulumeni wachaza ke lokhu wachaza ke noma izathi lezi ezilandelayo ke zontathu. Ngalelanga lelo kwenzanga lesigameko inkosi uLuthuli yashiya noma yahamba ekhaya ekseni yahamba ke yaya lapha ke estopini sebus nokuyilapho yagibela khona ibhasi yabisiyehla estopini esasibuduze naso isitolo kodwa kwakusadinga ukuthi ahambe ibanga elalingaba ngamakhilomitha ke amabili ukuthi akwazi ukufinyelela lapha ke esitolo. Uma esefikile ke lapha esitolo ke waba khona inguyazana ayibamba naloyo wayomanager walapha esitolo umnumzane Mabaso ngokuqinisekisa ke nje ukuthi konke kwakhamba ke ngendlela ngaphambi kokuthi asuke ahambe alibhekise lapha eMobeni. Wabulawa ke sendleleni yalapha ke eMobeni. Akekho ke umuntu ongezwa nongaboni obengakwazi ukwenza zonke lezi zinto kokukhuleka ngale kokulekelelo noma kokusizwa ukwazi ukuxhumana ke nabantu lokho nje ukuyiphuzu lokuqala ke nje lokuthi ngempela uyabona ukuthi yonke lento eyayichazwa uhulumeni wangalesa sikhathi kwakwamampunge nje noma kuwamanga. Okwesibili futhi ke uLuthuli umuntu obeshumayela lapha enkonzweni ekhona lapha endaweni ufunda iBhayibheli ngale kwenkinga uxhumana ke nalo ke ibandla ekhulumisana nalo umuntu ongaboni nongezwa angeke akwazi ukwenza ke konke ke lokho futhi ke lo esinye ke lasezathu sokuthi umphakathi walapha eGroundsville wawazi ukuthi ngempela ke uhulumeni wangalesa sikhathi wawuqamba amanga ngaphansi kwezimo zokukhothama kwayo ke inkosi uLuthuli. Okwesithathu ke la uma wami nabanye ke bomndeni laphana bebejwayela ukuthi ke babe lapha ke ngaphandle mabenza imisebenzi ethi nje ukuthi kuyawashwa impahla benza nje yonke imisebenzi ke kudinga ukuthi yenziwe lapha. Umkhulu uLuthuli ke yena uzobe elapha ke endlini. Uyena ozongizwa ngoba ngaleso sikhathi ngangiyingane ngimncane uma ngikhala atshela uma wami ukuthi ke na ingane ke sivukile kusho phela kwasekufanele phela uma anginake ke la ngalo ndlela phela ke umkhulu wayengasona isithuli ukuthi wayengezwa. Okugcina ke la engakuveza ukuthi enyakeni lo ngaphambi kokuthi umkhulu akhothame wadibana ke nomunye ke isithunywa ke sasiphuma leUS uRobert Kennedy eze ekhayeni lakhe khona lapha ke eGroundsville nokwaba ke nomhlangano ke owavezwa ke la uqhayiswa ke kuzwe lonke ngisho khona la eMzansi kanjalo naphesheya izithombe zabo zalamadoda amabili zaziveziwe ke la futhi behamba ke lapha ke khona lapha egcekeni noma lapha ekhaya nje bekhululekile futhi kwayena umkhulu noma inkosi yayibukeka iphilile ikahle nje sesimene sikahle kwakungekho zimpawu zokukhombisa ukuthi ngabe lo muntu akaboni kahle noma unenkinga yokuzwa kahle futhi akukho lapho lesi sithunywa sale US uKennedy akaveza khona ukuthinteka noma ukuphatheka ukuthi impilo ke yenkosi uLuthuli iyayingathi incamncam noma wayenokudwenguzela noma mhlawumbe akabonisisi kahle ke eSwiss akukho lapha akaveza leso sikhalazo.
an Afrikaner man who claimed to know the truth behind Luthuli's death. At one time, I was with my father in town, Stenger, running some errands. I was in high school then. We were in the car when I noticed that he was upset. I asked him what was wrong. He told me that he had just met an Afrikaner man who asked him if he was Luthuli's son. My father responded in the affirmative. The man then asked him if he would like to know how his father, i.e. Luthuli, died. My father told the man that yes, he would like to know. The Afrikaner man asked him, how much are you willing to pay me? My father got angry and told this white man to go away. My father's reaction meant that we did not get that Afrikaner man's story. However, my father's reaction was understandable. While it is true that in the end we did not get the Afrikaner man's story, for me, the incident revealed a few important facts. Namely, A, that indeed there was another story to Chief Luthuli's death. The real story, the truth. B, that the apartheid government had lied about Luthuli's death. C, that the murder of Luthuli was either a hate crime by a white man or that the circumstances around Luthuli's death were probably linked to the government, since a white Afrikaner man claimed to know these details and suggested that the government had lied about Luthuli's death. As to which point between point 16C and 16D is correct, I believe that the latter for the reasons stated in the next section.
Kunalomlisa ke noma ke ibhunu ke elaheza kuba nolwazi ngokushona noma ngokukhothama kwenkosi uLuthuli. Ngaleso sikhathi leso ke nganginobaba wami edolobheni lapha eStenga, sizihambela ke nje edolobheni. Ngaleso sikhathi ngangumfundi ke emabangena aphezulu. Sasilapha emotweni. Ngabe sengimbona ke la ubaba ukuthi akaphathekile kahle, ngambuza ukuthi kwakwenze njani. Wabe siyangixoxela kubaba ukuthi udibane nebhontizeni lapha, elambuza ukuthi ngabe undodana wenkosi uLuthuli. Ubaba kwakuqinisekisa lokho uthi indoda le iyabe simbuza ukuthi ngabe uyathanda na ukuthi abe nolwazi lokuthi kwenzakalani ke ngobaba wakhe inkosi uLuthuli ekudluleni kwayo. Uthi ubaba wakhe wabe siyasho ukuthi yebo ngingathanda ukuthi ngazi. Uthi leli bhunu ke labe selimbuza ukuthi unamalini ke noma uzimisela ukumnika ke malini. Ubaba ke ilapha thukuthela khona wagana unwabo wayitshela ke lo mlungu ukuthi hayi ngeke akasuke la noma akaphume kuyena. La ukwenza ke la kwababa kwachaza la ukuthi kahle kahle lelu daba laleli bhunu ke kahle wayengalqondisisi noma engalitholi ke kahle. Kodwa ke noma kunjalo leso senzo sika baba ngangisiqonda, sasiqondakala ukuthi kungani ubabe ke enze kanjeni. Njengoba phela ke lapha ke egcineni engasanga kwazi ukumzwisisa ke kahle ukuthi yini ke noma lalithini udaba lalomlisa. Yingakho ke la kumina ke lokho noma leso sigameko sibe sesiveza nalamaphuzu ambalwa amqokwa ke engingawachaza ngalendlela elandelayo. Ngiwahlukanisile kwegaba A no B no C no D. Ngithi mina la lokho sekuveza usokubala ukuthi ngempela ekukhothameni ke kwenkosi uLuthuli kwakukhona udaba olwaluyiqiniso ke la olwalifihliwe naneqiniso ke futhi la nanokuthi futhi ke uhulumeni wobandlululo ngaleso sikhathi leso waqamba amanga ngaloko okuchaza ngokukhothama kwenkosi uLuthuli. Nanokuthi futhi uyabona ukubulawa kwenkosi uLuthuli kwakuphakathi kokuthi ngabe nje kwakuba isenzo sobugebengu isenzondo uma umlungu ezondo umuntu bese ke kubulawa kwakhe okanye ngingathi mhlambe kwaba ke izimo lezi zokubulawa kwakhe inkosi uLuthuli mhlambe zazihlangene zazinayo into yokwenza nohulumeni njengoba lomlisa noma leli bhono laveza ukuba nolwazi ukuthi kena uhulumeni lo wangalesa sikhathi uqambe amanga ngaloko kuchazile ngokukhothama kwenkosi. Manje ke kulamaphuzu mangiwabheka ke kakhulukazi kuleli lokuthi ukubulawa kwenkosi uLuthuli mhlawumbe kwaba inzondo yokuzondwa ke ibhono noma umlungu noma ke khona okuthize ke la uhulumeni wawunako nokwenza ngokubulawa kuyiqiniso ke lokho. Manje ke osokwenza ukuthi ke manje ke bese ngithi mina into eyenza ukuthi ngikholelwe ngibese ngiyanaba yilezi zathu ke ngizosichaza kuloko kulandelayo.
Senator Robert Kennedy's visit to Crowdville and meeting with Luthuli. The government had been trying to silence Luthuli for a long time. Luthuli was either detained in jail, under house arrest, not allowed to be in the company of more than 2 people at a time, or under some banning order of some sort. The government even tried to prevent him from going to Oslo to receive his Nobel Peace Prize in 1960. These bannings intensified after the 1963 treason trial. The objective was to contain and nullify his political influence on the South African and international community. However, on the 8th of June 1966, towards the end of his visit to South Africa, Senator Robert Kennedy, the brother of the US President J.F. Kennedy, paid Luthuli a visit at Luthuli's home in Crowdville. The government tried to stop Kennedy but failed. Kennedy insisted that he needed to meet the man who represented the voices, the opinions, and aspirations of the majority of black South Africans. Coupled with that, the ANC, which was now a banned organization, also insisted that Luthuli was still their beloved President General, despite the ANC being in exile outside of the country. Meanwhile, the far-right Nationalist Party leader, B.J. Vorster, had become Prime Minister of South Africa in 1966. Vorster is one of the harshest, racist, and most violent prime ministers to have led apartheid South Africa. So my view is that there was a realization that the only way to silence Chief Luthuli was to kill him, to assassinate him, and a decision was taken to do just that. Doing so wouldn't have been difficult at all because our home, and Luthuli in particular, was always under surveillance.
La lesithunywa ke sasiphume US uRobert Kennedy esasivakashele lapha eCrowdville sizodibana nenkosi uLuthuli. Uhulumeni ke wawuzama ke ukuthulisa inkosi uLuthuli isikhathi eside. Kangoba ke la khona ikhathi lapho uzothi uLuthuli wayekavalelwa besejele aboshwe ekhona endlini kunemthetho yasendlini angavumeleki ukudibana nabantu ke ababili abangaphezulu kwababili lapha ngesikhathi lapha ekhaya kukhona imithetho ayiphila ngaphansi ke kwayo. Ngisho ngesikhathi leso uhulumeni wazama ukumvimba ukuthi ayilapha ke ezweni lase Oslo lapha ayothola khona umkromulo njengomuntu ke la owayeshoshofu sokuthula nokwakho ukubuyisana. Konke ke lokhu kwakuloku ke kuqiniswa noma kwenziwa ngishona lesikhathi ke emveni kwecala ke leliyane ke elaba khona amavukelambuso okwakuyi inkomba noma ukukhombisa ke la ukuthi phela umuntu wayekwazi ukuthi enesandla ekwazi ukunxenxa la kwezepolitiki nala eningizimu Afrika nasemphakathini. Noma kunjalo kodwa ke kuthe lapha ngonyaka ka 1966 ngomhla ka 8 lapha ke sekuphela isikhathi ayesehambele ngaso la eMzansi lomlisa wabeke umfowabo ke la wamongameli ke noma we-US president yahambela noma yavakashela lapha ekhaya la kaLuthuli eGroutsville. Uhulumeni wazama ukumisa ke uKenneth kodwa wahluleka. uKenneth wama ke ekutheni kuyafuna ukudibana nalomlisa ke lo onamandla kangaka ngokugqugquzela kwakhe ukwazi ukukhuluma ukuveza imizwa yabantu ke abamnyama. Lokho phela kwakhambisana ke ngisho nala abantu ke bahulumeni ke we-ANC ababe kade cabanga ke inhlangano evele ke ifana ukuthi engasekho noma ke ichithiwe ke la kodwa uLuthuli babe sakholelwa kuyena ukuthi use umongameli yize amalunga eANC ayengekho ke engaphandle kweze ke sekudingisweni bese kuzoba ke la umholi ke la we-National Party uBJ Foster owaba Prime Minister kuNdunankulu wala eNingizimu Afrika ngonyaka 1966. uFoster le waye omunye wayenesandla esiqinile nobandlululo enodlame uyena Ndunankulu wayenodlame ke la ekuholeni kwakhe ke lapha kulomholi bobandlululo ngalesa lapha eNingizimu Afrika. Manje ke ngokubona kwami ngibheka zizonke ke lezi zinto kwakuyindlela nje ukuthi athuliswe noma acinywe ke manje inkosi ke la njengoba phela manje kwakubonakala ke amandla ke akho ngaleyo ndlela ke ngendlela ukuthi bakwenze lokho kwakungakhoni kubona ukuthi bakwenza ngoba ikhaya lethu kakhulukazi lalapha ke kaLuthuli kwakunje hlezi besiqaphile bekwazi ukubona yonke iminyakazo noma okwakwenzakala.
Luthuli was always under surveillance. Our home was under constant surveillance by government via what used to be called the special branch of the SAP. Sometimes we would wake up with police armed to the teeth all around the yard, searching for one thing or the other if they suspected some wrongdoing. I know of at least one of our neighbors in our Crowdville home who was linked to the special branch. This man would go hunting with white people in game parks on a regular basis. Only black people who were working with the special branch could carry guns and go hunting with white people at that time. Often, when ANC meetings had to be held, Luthuli would arrange with trusted neighbors for them to accommodate those ANC members who were coming from outside of Crowdville. He would then pretend to be going to sleep at around 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. At around 11 p.m. or 12 or midnight, he would wake up and sneak out of the house when the special branch police were either asleep or falling asleep, to go and chair the meeting in one of the neighbors' houses. Sometimes, a few days before a meeting, Luthuli would get a few young men to go deep into a sugarcane field and cut the cane to open up space. Some of those nocturnal meetings would be held there. Few people are aware that when the repressive apartheid regime was in full force, some ANC meetings were held in the middle of sugarcane fields, in the still of the night. After such meetings, Luthuli would then sneak back into the house and go to sleep. His movements during the day, though, were not hidden. Besides, Luthuli enjoyed walking around in the community, meeting people and talking to people, meeting and talking to people. He was a man of the people. His movements were also quite regular. especially those that pertain to him going to his shop and sugarcane fields. He used the same routes most of the time, so it was easy to monitor him and know his whereabouts at any point in time if someone
Sorry.
wanted to cause
Just stop.
him harm.
My lady, we're not sure if this noise is coming from outside or if it's within the court.
People with phones must switch them off because we don't know where the noise is coming from.
I suspect that it may be outside, my lady. If maybe one of the court orderlies can assist in making sure that we're not disturbed.
It's normally good court behavior if people even in the gallery stop playing with their phones while the proceedings are taking place. These doors are not locked. Anybody who prefers to concentrate on a phone is free to quietly exit the courtroom. I think there is sufficient sitting space in the open gallery. People can sit there instead of sitting inside court but play with their phones.
Siyacela ke nakubantu abakhona abahlelela enkantolo ngendaba yamafoni ukuthi ema usenkantolo nje ubuhleli awukwazi ukuthi uthathe ifoni yakho udlale ngayo noma wenzani efonini kodwa ekubeni ula enkantolo. Uma ngabe umuntu othanda ukusebenzisa ifoni yakho nje iminyango ikhona ivulekile ungakwazi ukuthi uphumele ngaphandle la uzoba nesikhathi khona sokuthi ucofa ifoni yakho ngoba mola enkantolo kufanele uhlale uvalile ifoni yakho ungayisebenzisi.
Thank you. Yes, Ms. Trainer.
Can I proceed, my lady?
Yes, proceed.
Thank you. Inkosi uLuthuli ke ngasonke isikhathi engaphansi kweso ihlala iqaphiwe ekhaya lethu ke kwakujwayeleke ukuthi noma ke wayeqashwe uhulumeni wangalesa sikhathi kusetshenziswa ke amaphoyisa la ithimbe lalikhethekile la ka SAP kwesinye isikhathi siyavuka ke nje namaphoyisa ahlomo ke ahlomile ke azingovolo akhona egcekeni lonke ayabheka ke noma yini uma kukhona olthize oluphambene ayilisola la engang noma ngikwaziyo ke la oyedwa omakhelwane balapha eGradsville owayehlangene noma ke sondelene naleli thimba lela lamaphoyisa lo mlisa lo uyena wayekwazi ukuthi ahambe ayozingela lapha ke emapaki ke noma la kuzingelwa ke khona njalo nabelungu ngoba phela uma ngabe ke umuntu omnyama kuphela wayekwazi ukuthi uma uthi usebenza nalamaphoyisa la wena kuphela uvumele ukuphatha isibhamu uhambe uyozingela ke nabo abelungu lesa sikhathi ngokujwayelekile ke lapha na kwakuba khona imhlangano ya ANC inkosi uLuthuli ke izokwenza inhlelo nomakhelwane ke lapha ukuthi ke na labo omakhelwane bathembayo ukuthi bakwazi ukuthi bahlalise labo lo malunga athizeni angaphandle kwale yanda yaseGradsville uzobe sezenze ngathi usiyalala ke lapha ngo8 kuya ko9 kuthi ke ebusuku ngo11 noma phakathi kwamabili avuke ke anyonyobe kaphume kuzothola ukuthi ngasikhathi namaphoyisa ke nawalela azumekile bahambe ke bayohlala lo mhlangano lapho kulowo muzi kwesinye isikhathi uma ngabe ke mhlambe kuba khona eminye futhi imhlangano uzokwenza inhlelo inkosi yoLuthuli ukuthi ithole ke izinsizwe zasencane lapha ukuthi ziyothi lapha phakathi ezimobeni bawushaya umoba bavula indawo ke lapha la kwakuzohlalela khona ke kubanje khona lemhlangano enzulweni zobusuku ke phakathi kwamabili ke la aphinda abuyele kanyonyobe ke abuyele ekhaya umnyakazo yakhe ke emini ke inkosi uLuthuli yayingafihliwe ke la ngale kokuthi futhi inkosi uLuthuli yayikuthanda kuyihambela ke lapha emphakathini dibane nabantu ikhuluma nabantu kwakuumuntu wabantu loya futhi ke kangoba ukuhamba kwakhe ukuthi umuntu uyahamba into ebese yaziwa ngoba isikhathi esiningi uthola ukuthi uyahamba uya lapha ke stolo uya ezimobeni futhi ujwayele ukusebenzisa imizila noma indlela ke eyodwa makwakulula ukuthi bambheke ngasonke isikhathi ukuthi wenzani ngasiphi isikhathi uma ukuthi babevele befuna ukumonzakalisa noma ukumlimaza.
Sequence of events on the day of Luthuli's death. Luthuli left his home at about 6:30 in the morning to go.
Just wait. I'll take cue from Ms. Cheney.
My lady.
I think this subheading is about 3 pages. No, this, yes. There are 3 full pages. So the time is not on our side. So in order not to leave this subheading in the middle, we can either adjourn or we can continue until after 11, which would now be against the logistical problems that we face today.
Thank you, my lady. I was informed by the court staff that they would like to leave at 11 o'clock. And I see that it's 4 minutes to 11. Perhaps we can stop here for today, my lady, for the interest of everybody who would like to knock off as per the circular at 11 and then start again. We had arranged dates for the witness to come back, my lady. That is the 24th of April.
Yes, and possibly 25.
And possibly going on to 25, my lady.
Thank you. Mr. Luthuli, we tried by all means not to inconvenience you by flying down to KwaZulu-Natal, but I was told this morning that all efforts to reschedule your flights and your coming to court today proved fruitless. We did anticipate that the time today will not be sufficient for you to finish your evidence. The prosecutrix, together with her team of prosecutors, still anticipate a full day of you giving evidence, which we do not have today. And I'm made to understand that you will make yourself available on the 24th of April, 2025, and possibly 25 April 2025.
Yes, my lady, that's true.
At this point of your evidence, we'll have to stop here on page 5 because we still have more pages of your affidavit to be recorded. And I'll warn you for court on the 24th of April 2025. And if you can also reserve the date of the 25th of April 2025, that would be greatly appreciated so that we make sure that we complete your evidence.
Noted, my lady.
Thank you. You are excused from the witness box.
Thanks.
Because of logistical challenges that we face today, these proceedings are adjourned to Tuesday, the 22nd of April, 2025, for further evidence to be taken. Thank you.
As a copy,
Court
my
adjourns.
lady.